Welcome back to the Hurry Up Offense. 5 minutes of fantasy football news and advice. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. Let's go. Today's topic is time to line up the elites. But first, let's get into the news. I hope for your sake, your team does not depend on 49ers at the moment, because the 49ers, as we know, are having a rough time. Not only the high ankle sprains on half the team, but also they're having COVID issues right now and they're not able to practice. Jeez, I don't know that we can play any of them at this time, really. If you have to, maybe Nick Mullens. I don't know. Chris Godwin is back to being a full go at practice, so I'm sure if you've had him sitting on your bench through all the ordeals this season, you are ready for that. Oh man, throw the babies in the air. Christian McCaffrey is back to being a full go at practice, which means he is most likely going to play. Jesus, if he's been on your IR, you have been fretting this season. I hope you haven't taken too many losses with him being out, but here he is. Let's get ready for the playoff. Matt Stafford has hit the COVID list. Whew, bad news for that offense. Kenny Golladay is already out. I don't know what playable pieces we have other than DeAndre Swift right now. Now, it's scary news with Christian McCaffrey coming back, and we look over at the Saints practice and see that Alvin Kamara is sidelined with a foot issue right now. But all the reports coming out right now are saying that it shouldn't affect his playing time. We'll see. We'll see. Jonathan Taylor is sidelined at the Colts practice, but he has a chance to play, so you're going to have to monitor that. More on Jonathan Taylor in a minute. Miles Sanders is on bye this week. And finally, Aaron Jones has a chance to come back this week after his calf injury. Let's hope, because Dexter Williams is not the route you want to be taking at this point in the season. But if you're really desperate, throw him in there. See what happens. That's it for the news. Let's get on to the game theory portion of the show. It is time to line up the elites. At this point in the season, we are rapidly approaching playoffs, and we need to look at our rosters and make sure we have the best possible lineup to win. Not only to get you into the playoffs, but win in the playoffs. I'm not talking about 1 week fill-ins. I'm not talking about a Chase Edmonds to get you by until next week, or a Dexter Williams to get you by until next week. We need players that are elite at the most possible positions we can, so that we can dominate in the playoffs. Trade deadlines in leagues are rapidly approaching if they have not already passed. Some leagues will go with the trade deadline for the NFL and use that, but some of them do not. You need to check when your trade deadline is and see if you can still go after some of these elite players. If not, make sure you do not drop any elite players. There is no guarantee you can grab them back off the waiver wire after you need them, after the bye week, whatever it is. Make sure you're using your IR spots if need be for a player that could come back during the playoffs, and make sure you use your bench to the fullest. I don't care if you have to take a loss 1 week, as long as you are not in danger of being out of the playoffs. By taking that loss, you can take that loss just so you can have your players through their bye weeks, your elite players through their bye weeks, because that is what wins championships. You need those guys. You need the Devontae Adams. You need the Christian McCaffreys. You need the Travis Kelce's. You need the Patrick Mahomes to win your championship. You need those elite players. Usually, if you don't have at least one of those top tier elite guys for their position, you do not win a championship. So make sure you do not let go of those guys if at all possible. Now, the last thing I want to talk about really quickly is Jonathan Taylor, and also guys like DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins. Now, usually we see this with running backs. They tend to break out early in the season of their rookie season if they are going to, but not always. I think in a situation like Jonathan Taylor, coach may be holding back. Frank Reich may be holding back here to preserve him, to unleash him, because right now coach is pretty sure they are headed for a playoff run. So they could turn him loose. I wouldn't say drop him unless you absolutely have to pick up a more dominant asset to get you into the playoffs. But I think these guys, along with DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins, might be more successful this season than we usually see dominant running backs break out in their rookie season. Keep an eye on it and try to keep them on your roster. Guys, that's it for this week. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. Please subscribe to the Beyond Football channel, and I'll see you next week. Deuces.